Are we finally past the AI hype phase? Hey everyone, let's dive right into this explainer. We're unpacking the latest AI news today, and honestly, the industry is rapidly shifting away from flashy gimmicks and moving straight toward highly structured, practical workflows. The tech landscape in mid-2026 is moving incredibly fast, but what we're seeing right now is a distinct maturation phase. We're officially past the initial excitement of just talking to a chatbot and entering an era where AI is deeply integrated into how we code, how we build complex enterprise systems, and how we conduct rigorous research.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're covering AI coding going mobile, AI agents living on your desktop, the massive code-first enterprise shift, building the ultimate AI research stock, and wrapping up with some real-world risks and limits. Okay, let's kick things off with our first section. AI coding goes mobile. We've got a massive release for developers to talk about. OpenAI just officially launched Codex for mobile devices directly inside the ChatGPT app as a preview, and if you're a Plus or Pro subscriber, you actually have access to this right now. This is a huge shift. It addresses that really stressful gap between a critical problem surfacing and you actually being able to sit down at a workstation. And get this, it features remote SSH integration. So if you're an on-call engineer, you can connect to servers and push fixes right from your commute. Sure, a code editor and a mobile browser isn't a totally new concept, but the ability to connect to a live server, inspect a running environment, and actually execute changes from a mobile session, that literally changes the game for remote teams and anyone responding to production incidents. But hold on a second. As groundbreaking as this is, it introduces some pretty serious security questions. You might be tempted to fix a production bug from a coffee shop on public Wi-Fi, but remember, desktop development workflows have spent years hardening against those exact vulnerabilities. When you're on a mobile device, you're dealing with shared network risks, the physical danger of device theft, and completely different background session behaviors. So while the capability is amazing, extreme caution is absolutely required when you're granting write access from your phone. Honestly, until all the safeguards are fully documented, it's probably best to just stick to read and review operations. Moving right along to Section 2, AI agents on your desktop. Stepping away from mobile for a second, we're seeing AI transition from a simple chatbot into a highly functional coworker right inside your terminal or through dedicated desktop apps. We're talking about tools that can actually take action on your computer, like creating files, designing web prototypes, and organizing messy data. You've got a few solid options here. Codex and Claude require paid subscriptions but offer incredible power, while Google's Gemini CLI is the only one giving you a free tier of 60 requests per minute to help you get your feet wet. Also, if you're on an Apple Silicon Mac, Codex even has a dedicated Mac app that totally bypasses the terminal, giving you a really friendly user interface that feels a lot more like a project management tool. Claude offers a similar experience. But whether you use the terminal or a sleek app, the underlying power is exactly the same. Instead of acting like simple chatbots, these tools operate like junior developers. You type a request in plain English, and they write the code or build the spreadsheet. But here is the critical part. They don't just run wild. Think of it like having a junior developer hand you a draft. By default, these agents ask for permission before taking actions on your machine. You just review the visual diff, which is essentially a red and green highlight reel showing exactly what lines they want to add or delete, and you just hit Y for yes or N for no. It allows you to safely build out rapid prototypes, like a simple web game or an organized financial spreadsheet in a matter of minutes. All right, Section 3, the code-first enterprise shift. Now, while these tools make generating code incredibly fast for individuals, it's forcing enterprise teams to fundamentally rethink how they build systems at scale. Because when massive enterprises try to scale fast AI prototyping, things break. That's why we're seeing a major pushback against the unpredictable spaghetti bowl LLM-first architecture. Back in 2024 and 2025, a lot of teams built LLM-first, putting the AI model at the absolute center of the application. It led to some really flashy demos, but the systems were basically impossible to test and maintain. Now, the industry standard is shifting to code first. This means you build deterministic, structured boxes where you clearly define the exact input formats and failure modes before you ever let the AI touch the logic. The AI is just treated as one strictly monitored probabilistic component. Kat Wu, the product lead for Anthropic's Claude Code, captures this new enterprise mindset perfectly. She notes that the team prioritizes iterative feedback over rigid roadmaps using a lean harness approach. This absolutely highlights a necessary focus on user-centric, flexible development frameworks with strong ethical guardrails, rather than trying to build unmaintainable, monolithic AI systems.
By using a lean harness approach, developers can keep their software flexible. It's a clear acknowledgement that AI is still evolving, and therefore, the systems housing it must be adaptable, easily testable, and deeply monitored. Let's move on to Section 4, the ultimate AI research stack. Let's bring this back to how you can upgrade your everyday personal workflow today. If you do any kind of deep research, literature review, or competitive analysis, you know the real problem isn't finding information, it's surviving the avalanche of it. Well, Google's NotebookLM solves this by creating a walled garden. It builds a self-contained grounded knowledge base strictly from the specific PDFs, videos, or documents you actually upload. And because it gives you inline citations so you know exactly where the facts came from, it drastically reduces the risk of the AI hallucinating or making things up. You upload your specific source corpus, and it only speaks from those documents. But while NotebookLM provides the grounded facts, Anthropic's Claude is the perfect thinking partner. When you're forming a complex argument, the absolute last thing you need is a yes man that blindly agrees with every half-formed idea you have. Claude possesses massive general knowledge and will actively debate you. As the team at XTA Developers perfectly put it, Claude won't glaze you. It will actually push back and tell you where your reasoning falls short. It acts as a brilliant sparring partner, offering the exact opposite experience of an echo chamber by bringing in broader reasoning that your uploaded documents might lack. So this creates a really credible, ultimate AI research stack. Imagine you're doing a complex competitive analysis. First, you extract and verify the raw, grounded facts with NotebookLM. Next, you generate an audio overview in NotebookLM Studio to spot weird connections and patterns while you step away to make a coffee. Then, you take those newly spotted connections, drop them into Claude, and say, here's what my data shows, here's my hypothesis, tear it apart. It is a practically flawless loop for deep, reliable research and synthesis. And finally, Section 5, real-world risks and limits. Look, as much as we love integrating these powerful workflows, we just cannot ignore the very real physical and societal limits constraining this technology. It is incredibly easy to get swept up in the magic of mobile coding and desktop agents, but the real world has hard boundaries. Take the recent Ontario audit. Doctors actually discovered AI note-takers were completely fabricating medical therapy referrals and prescriptions. That is a life safety risk for anyone deploying AI in regulated environments. Or look at Lake Tahoe, where 49,000 residents are literally competing with AI data centers for basic power grid access. AI requires an immense amount of energy, and local infrastructure is feeling massive, measurable pressure. The overarching lesson from this week's news is that whether you're a developer on the go, a system architect, or a researcher, you absolutely must build workflows that treat AI as a tool to be rigidly verified, not blindly trusted. The model is usually right is simply not a sufficient acceptance criterion anymore, especially when you're dealing with patient health, enterprise security, or critical community infrastructure. Output validation is definitely not optional. So I want to leave you with this thought to reflect on as you evaluate your own tech stock moving forward into the rest of 2026. Are your AI workflows built for hype, or are they built for reality? Look closely at the tools you're using and ask yourself if you really have the right validation in place. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to test out that NotebookLM and Claude research stock for your next project. It really is a game changer.